Hi everyone, Ryan Cardinal here. Hope you're all having a great day. Today I'm just going to go over some of the brushes that I made. One of the brush packs that I made was a Rock, Rubble, and Debris brush. So I'm just going to quickly go over that and what it does. Just a quick overview, nothing crazy, nothing fancy, but it'll give you a quick insight as to what the brushes can do. And if you wish to purchase them, I do have links available in my description to the Gumroad site where I have them for sale. So, as we can see up here, I have a couple different brushes set up, and I'm just on my Rock Rubble Debris brush, and I'm just going to go through them one at a time and just quickly describe them. So, just going to click on it. Now, sometimes Clip Studio Paint takes a while to kick in. It's a thing that I think has to do with the brush engine. The way that I have these brushes set up is that there is a lot of information on there, so I think it takes a while to calibrate all that stuff somewhere in the back of its memory. But now I'm just starting with my Rock Rubble Debris brush number 1 here. I just selected. Bring this down a little bit. Yeah, maybe about there. And I'm just going to drag it across. Now, one of the reasons why I decided to make these brushes is, me personally, I enjoy drawing rocks, rubble, debris, destruction, all that kind of stuff, but it is very time consuming. Anybody who's drawn it knows how time consuming it could be. But that also depends on the level of detail that you're willing to put into it or want to put into it. Now, the way that I made these brushes is I made them fairly detailed, but at the same time, I didn't go in with any heavy spotted blacks or anything like that. That way, if you want to go in, you can add your own flair to it, your own desired finished product look. And it's easy enough to just do that on your own. So this is debris number 1 with the canvas, and going to debris number 2. Now I have debris brushes 1 through 9, and these are set up as fairly large debris brushes, and then I have smaller ones that are obviously small rubble and debris. So here is brush number 2. And as you can see, I'm pulling this across pretty fast, and you can definitely see how quick you would be able to set up some kind of like cityscape that's been destroyed, or something that's been devastated by the earthquake or laser blast or some kind of thing along those lines. Let's clear that and just do another one here. So I'll do something just kind of quickly. So like small background stuff. Blow it up a little bit more. Some mid-ground stuff. Now, the other thing with the brushes too is if you get the brush getting really big, now I'm at 100% here so you can see exactly what's going on. You can see that there's some pixelation going on. Some of these brushes, if you keep blowing them up big and big, just like anything else, it'll start to pixelate. Unfortunately, that's with any type of brush. But I had these set up at a fair decent size, so that shouldn't really be an issue if you're doing stuff for print. Because obviously when you go to print, especially for comic book stuff, it'll get shrunk down and any of that fuzzing will totally dissipate. So we'll clear that. And debris brush number 3. Yeah, this will happen to Clip Studio Paint too, a little blackout once in a while. I don't know if it happens to anyone else. I know it happens to me. If it does happen to you, let me know in the comment section. I would like to know if I'm the only one experiencing it, or if this is something that everyone else is dealing with once in a while too. I noticed that for the decoration brushes, that's where I first noticed it when I got Clip Studio Paint. Yeah, I'll go really big with these ones, and you can kind of see the pixelation that can happen with it. So I don't generally advise that you go this big with the brushes, because obviously it's going to get pixelated like that. Let's go back a couple steps. But If you end up purchasing the brush set, you'll be able to find that sweet spot where the brushes work best for you. That's number 3. Number 4. Once it kicks in. Whoop, sorry about that, guys. Got a little overzealous in my brush there. That's number 4. Clear that. Number 5. And again, if you guys have any questions or comments, feel free to get a hold of me in the comment section of the video. Any feedback or questions is greatly appreciated. I'd like to know if you guys have any issues with the brush, comments with the brush, because feedback like that helps me when I'm developing these brush packs. Because I could be missing something that somebody else is like, oh, I really like it, but if you would just tweak it this way, or how about these types of brushes, or have you thought about this? That way when I do my other brush packs, I'll keep that stuff in mind. And then that way when I go to make them, I'll be able to make them as best as I can for you guys. I've had a couple people ask me how long it takes me to make these brushes. These brushes do require a lot of time because I do have to go in and draw every single individual piece, every single little rock, all the nicks, all the details. So it does take me quite a while to make these brushes. That's why I do sell them for the price that I do sell them. And it's not like I can just manifest them and make them. And there's also a couple little tricks and weird things when you're making brushes with Clip Studio Paint. Just because the surface area that you make the brush in is a square, so some stuff that you put in will get shrunk down in detail. So if you have something that's heavily detailed and you put it next to something that's wide open, it's gonna look off when you make your brushes. So you kind of have to group everything so it generally will feel the same for each brush set. So if you got stuff that's like really big and heavily detailed, you kind of want to group all those together when you make a brush set. Yeah, that's brush 6 there. Clear that. Found that out through trial and error, just going through making brushes and wondering why they're not looking right, and having to omit certain parts of the drawings or when I'm making the brush set, because you can stitch together a bunch of individual drawings to make a brush, and finding out which ones work, which ones don't, which ones sit good, which ones complement each other. So yeah, it takes a while to make these brush sets and make them to the quality and level that I think that they're worth putting out there for. I designed them to speed up the certain processes of the illustrations that you might be doing, because like I said, drawing certain things, it just requires a lot of time. And if there's something that can streamline your process and make you do more artwork, I think that's a good thing, a very positive thing. I've had a couple people gripe and complain that, oh, it's not art anymore. I view it completely differently. I look at it as these are tools and resources that you can use at your disposal if you so desire. Plus, you have the ability to add your own personality to the brush itself. Like, I can't control what kind of brush stroke that you make, or what kind of like coloring that you're going to be doing on it, or the blacks that you're going to be doing on it, but the brush itself is there to be used as a tool to aid in the advancement of your illustration, or at least that's what I hope that you're getting out of it. Let's see, we're on brush 8 here. I'm just gonna quickly speed up here. I just don't want this to drag on too terribly long with me rambling and stuff. But as you can see, how fast everything can come together. See, if you're doing like even like background stuff like this, like yeah, it looks heavily jumbled in detail, but if you went in with a spot brush and just blocked out some heavy blacks in areas, then you're going to get some like really interesting textures and shapes. A couple of brush sets that I'm working on right now. I'm working on a Japanese style brush set. I used to be a tattoo artist for 20 years. I really wish I had this program when I was tattooing, because there is a lot of power within Clip Studio Paint that is at your fingertips and disposal that a lot of people, especially tattoo artists, don't really know about. I find a lot of artists get scared when it comes to technology or new things just in general. Like, oh, I don't know that. I'm not gonna do that. It seems weird. It seems strange. So yeah, that was brush 8. Clear this. But like I said, if I had this years and years ago, I would have been so pleased. Like, I used Photoshop for years and years, and it was amazing. But as soon as I switched over to this and saw what it's capable of, especially because it's designed for drawing, it feels a lot better, in my personal opinion, than Photoshop. Photoshop is great for what it does. Not slagging it by any means, but for illustration and drawing, there's just something about Clip Studio Paint that just feels that much nicer, that much more natural. The only way that I can put it is Photoshop, when drawing, if you're trying to make a nice line, it feels greasy, slippery, very wet. And if you have a painting style or an art style or a drawing style that accommodates that, then it works for you, or you become accustomed to it. That's perfect. It runs totally fine with how you draw. But for me, I draw a little bit slower, so having that slipperiness didn't help me. Now in Clip Studio Paint, because of the stabilize feature, I found I can find that exact sweet spot, to me anyways, that emulates the way a pencil feels, with that drag and the crispness of a line. Not Christmas. Crispness of a line. So yeah, I zoomed out a little bit here to like 64%, just to show you the full paper, kind of like how it looks. And as you can see, just even from this, you know, you can just toss a character in here and you have like a, you know, kick-ass cover. So I'm going to zoom back to, well, I'll just keep it at this for right now. Clear this. On to number 10. At this point, if you've bought this brush, I'd like to thank you so much. It's one of the few ways that I'm actually making some money right now. Since I've retired from tattooing, I've gone into comic books, illustration, and storyboards, and this is also one of the other ways that I help basically keep myself afloat. And I really do enjoy making the brush packs, and I think there's a lot of value in them. I worked on a couple storyboard gigs where, like, I have my crowd brush set, and that directly came from working on a storyboard gig where we had to do a bunch of zombies and crowd scenes and stuff like that. And I was like, man, this is so time consuming. There's got to be a more streamlined way of doing it. And as soon as I was done the gig, I sat down, I thought about it, went online, looked up on how to make brushes in Clip Studio Paint, and did a couple small test trials with crowds, and it worked really good. So that's why I ended up making that crowd brush set. Now I am working on a volume 2 of that crowd brush set, but it'll take a while to get that together, because there's lots of individual people that I have to draw up, and like I said, it's very time consuming. So after I'm done the Japanese brush set, I'm probably going to be hopping on a couple other things before I get to Crowd Brush Volume 2. That was Debris Brush 10. I'm going to clear that. And it's going to go through these last 5 here super quick. Now, if these videos, any of the videos that I put up on YouTube, if any of them help you, any shoutouts or shares would be greatly appreciated. It does take me a while to make videos just because I'm just, honestly, I'm slow at doing this stuff. I'm not super fast at it. I know there are people out there that can bang stuff out like crazy. I unfortunately am not one of those people. It takes me a lot of time to do stuff. And unfortunately, I'm not working with the best computer. I'm just running stuff off of my laptop right now. So doing some of these videos, I actually have to do them at a lower res, lower DPI than what I usually draw in, just because my poor CPU can't handle it whatsoever. I got a pretty old laptop doing this stuff. So it kind of bugs out when I'm doing too much stuff at once. Usually I do my stuff anywhere between 300 to 600 DPI. I like drawing in a lot of vector layers, especially for my line art. And if I'm doing any screen cap stuff, especially with vectors, it uses the CPU as well as the screen capture uses the CPU. So there becomes a conflict there, and it really lags out. And it shows in the video, which is really unfortunate. Like, the audio still will go on, but the line work will cut out, which is counterintuitive when you're making videos. So just running stuff on lower DPI just for the videos here. But pop that up to 100. But you can see, you know, the little debris brushes here, what they're obviously meant for. Now with these brushes too, you can go into your, where is it down here? This little icon down here, click on that, and you can mess with all the features here. Brush tip, and then you can see here are all the actual individual drawings that make up just the one brush. And then with that, you can adjust the direction. And you can see up in the top, as I move this, they rotate slightly. So if you don't like the angle, or if you don't like the spacing of it, you can space them out further as well if you go into your stroke section and hit the gap and push it apart. Or if you want it super tight, I don't suggest doing that. It just looks like weird sandwiches. So I keep them generally about there. But again, you can mess with it however you wish. I'll switch over to the next one there once it does that. Now, making videos is a relatively new thing for me. It is weird just kind of sitting and talking to myself, essentially. I have a cat, and sometimes he screws up the video by either meowing or getting in the way. So, again, another reason why it takes me a while to do videos. Because sometimes, you know, cats, they just get in the way and they want to be part of whatever you're doing. They're not bad guys, they're just kind of jerks sometimes. There are a lot of brush packs that I want to be doing and making. So if you end up subscribing either here or on any of my other social media, I'm basically on everything from Instagram, Twitter, Tumblr, Facebook. If you find me on there, I'll be posting stuff as to when I'm making new brush packs. I'll be posting it there as well as on here. But like I said, because I'm making the videos, it takes me a little bit longer on here. As we're somewhere on Instagram, I can do a video very, very quickly. So if you follow me on there, all my social media is The Ryan Cardinal. That's TheRyanCardinal. So if you find one, if you just type that in Google, it should bring up all my social media. Wait for this. So yeah, this is generally all the brushes and how they look, how they operate. And again, with the small brushes, I'll blow it up really big. With the small brushes, like I said, with the pixelation, you'll notice it a lot more on the small brush. And that has to kind of do with the way that Clip Studio Paint registers the image when you go to make the brush. Like I said, it's a single square, so everything that gets registered as a material will show up in that square. And because the smaller brushes, because when I drew these are actually like really much smaller than the large rubble and debris brushes, but because the surface area when you go to put the image into the material section of the brush, it blows it up to fit that square, so they end up kind of getting a little bit distorted. So that's why I made them the small rubble and debris, because they didn't fit well with the large rubble and debris like I was kind of hoping that they would. I was kind of hoping to have them varied on their own, but there are a couple little tricks that I'm going to be doing with the next Rock Rubble and Debris brush pack that I'm doing that I've learned from this. And hopefully that will kind of like alleviate some of the issues and problems that I found making this brush pack. But as with anything, you have to do something in order to learn from it. And making these brushes was just super fun. Especially trying to figure out how to do certain things and how to make things go the way that I wanted them to. Having the randomness was tricky. Making the brush sets, some of the images, if you actually go in, and I'll show you guys here, bring this up, bring up brush tip, you'll see that it's the same image, but I rotated them by 90 degrees, and that's to help vary the detail amount. And then I have, in the brush settings themselves, random setup, and with that also randomizes the pattern that it comes up with. So I found a nice balance between that, making for the same image and then rotating it with the randomize feature. And I think it does a good job of not coming up with crazy definitive repeating programs or images. Sorry about that. So yeah, that's just a very quick run through of all the brushes. In total in this brush pack you get 15 brushes, 10 big ones, 10 small ones. Let's zoom out here. And yeah, so hopefully this helps you guys with your illustrations. I know some people out there might not be the best background artists, so hopefully this helps out with that kind of stuff. That's why I make these brushes. I want to help people out. I want to help streamline their process. Like for me, like I said, I'm not the fastest artist on the planet, so when I go to do my comic book stuff, I want to have enough resources set and ready to go, so I'm not wasting time with stuff that I can be using on either characters or developing the story itself. So yeah, if you guys have any questions or anything like that, feel free to leave comments and feedback in the comments section or any of my social media. Like I said previously, I am the Ryan Cardinal on all my social media. Sorry about that. If you like this video, please subscribe, share it, hit that like button. And I have links to all my social media in the description, as well as I'll have it at the end of this video with links to Instagram, Twitter, as well as my Gumroad site where these brushes are available. If you found this video helpful, like I said, feel free to share. And that pretty much wraps it up. I hope you all have a wonderful day, and peace out till next time. All right, bye.